Imagine this for a second. You're a committed voter. You're in a brain scanner. And someone shows you undeniable proof that your favorite candidate is, well, wrong about something important.
What do you think lights up?
You'd assume it's your reasoning center, right? The part of your brain that's supposed to calculate things,
The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex.
Exactly. But it doesn't. It stays pretty quiet. Instead, the parts of your brain that deal with emotion, with conflict, with defending yourself, they just explode with activity.
And that single counterintuitive finding is really the engine behind Drew Westen's book, The Political Brain. His claim is, well, it's pretty stark. He says, the political brain is an emotional brain, not a dispassionate calculating machine.
So today, we're bringing you the most game-changing essential insights from that book. Some really practical wisdom that could transform how you think and act.
Okay, so let's start with essential insight number one, and it's a big one. The rational voter is a myth.
Yeah, that classic image from civics class, the voter carefully weighing policy papers.
It's mostly a comforting fiction. Westen argues that political judgment is actually something called motivated reasoning.
And the neuroscience on this is just fascinating. So when they put these committed partisans in the fMRI scanner
and show them that contradictory information, the brain didn't start calculating. It started defending. The areas for managing distress and conflict just lit up.
So that logical part, the bookkeeper, is kind of sidelined. The emotional security guard has taken over.
That's a perfect way to put it. And it's working overtime just to neutralize the threat that this new fact poses to your identity.
And here's the kicker.
Right. Once the subjects manage to twist the facts to protect their loyalty, their brain's reward circuits fired. They got a literal emotional payoff for defending the team.
So you unconsciously steer your thinking to a conclusion that just feels better, all while feeling like you're being perfectly objective.
Which leads right into essential insight number two. We talk about the marketplace of ideas, but Westen says that's not where modern campaigns happen.
They happen in the marketplace of emotions.
Exactly. Success isn't about winning a debate on statistics. It's about activating these deep networks of association in the brain: fear, pride, empathy.
You use symbols, stories. Words like crime or freedom aren't just words.
No, they're emotional triggers. They call up feelings and group identities way below your conscious awareness.
And speaking of a place for reflection and rational thought, this is Mindful Moments, our YouTube channel offering AI book analysis, summaries, and critiques. We really hope it inspires you. Understanding this is the first step toward better media literacy. But here's the simple way to apply this insight when analyzing a political ad.
Okay, that emotional piece also explains what Westen calls the campaign strategy mismatch. This is our third insight.
This one's a bit controversial. He argues that, particularly in the U.S., Democrats have repeatedly lost winnable elections, and not because of their ideology.
But because of their communication style. It's a fundamental mismatch with how the brain works.
They treat a campaign like a seminar.
Right. Speeches loaded with stats, nuance, caveats. They're trying to talk to that quiet, calculating part of the brain.
Meanwhile, the other side is crafting simple, moral stories, with heroes and villains and very clear emotional stakes.
And the result is this flat, technocratic language that just doesn't connect. And this is even when polls show that people agree with their positions on key issues.
Westen's point is that the fix isn't about changing your ideology. It's about changing the story.
And that is a perfect lead-in to essential insight number 4. The power of moral frames.
This is the actionable part. Effective messages are basically short stories about who we are and what kind of country we want to be.
And they're wrapped around a few core values, things everyone understands: fairness, security, responsibility, community.
Progressives, he argues, often cede the moral high ground. They focus on the policy, the program, the what.
Instead of the moral vision behind it, the why.
So instead of leading with a budget breakdown, you lead with a story about protecting children or defending human dignity. You tuck the policy inside that emotional narrative.
You have to shift from what you propose to why you care so deeply about it.
Now, before we go, just a quick guide to our channel. You can start with our 5-minute essential insights, then dive into the in-depth analysis. Next, the summary, ending with a comprehensive critique.
And Westen's work really leaves us with a provocative thought. If political success really does rely on managing voters' unconscious emotional circuitry.
What happens to the ideal of, rational public discourse? What does it mean for truthfulness?
Discover genre-based book podcasts at Mindful Moments. Subscribe and nourish your mind on the go.